We're going to go through the GenAI visual history, talk a little bit about it. There's some new news today that just came out. Didn't have time to put in a slide because I think I'll break it, and I kind of did it anyway. Talk about a little bit about is GenAI bad for it. Only 3 slides, don't worry. We got ethics after this for this one. What is it really good for creatives, and how to get creative with generative AI. So my whole goal is after you leave this, I'm hoping you would get creative with GenAI. Don't be afraid of it. Use it. And then always upload stuff and tag with the proper hashtags for it. Thank you. So how do we get here? How do we get here in this space in time? My personal history is this. This was an innovation client event in Brisbane. Well, it's not even 2 years ago, right? And I looked into my database and we took a ton of stuff, a ton of photos and everything. But the best one I got is actually this white thing. And you look at the arrow, there was a photo booth, digital photo booth. Theodorus, right here, Theo just joined the company a few months ago. And he introduced this thing called Stable Diffusion on A1111. Yeah, I will go nuts on this stuff. You're going to hear it a little bit. And it was awesome. You type in something, it came out, and it ran on your own machine. DALL-E just came out before that, right here. This is the timeline. Some of the major important parts for this, right here. And the reason why I want to show this right here is, if you look on the very top, DALL-E came out 2021, first one. Yeah, not so good. Well, it's interesting. I remember they have a dog that sat on a couch right there. Cat on couch. Awesome. And then they released it. I remember typing something like man with a hat, and it came out. It was okay, and so forth. It was all right, and everything. But it felt, not so great. But soon it accelerated right here. The green one on there, the first bit right here, which is my secret weapon, Stable Diffusion, that was the release, 22nd August 2022. Theo showed it to me really, really soon after that. We implemented it. But at that point in time, it was not really there yet. These are the major players right here. These are the major players that we think in there. In theory, there's more, but these are the major players that's doing stuff within visual and GenAI. That's it. At the very beginning, it felt like a toy. It's really, really cool. You use it. You don't really use it as much. Great. And this applies to a lot of the things. It applies to ChatGPT. It applies for all this stuff right here. But very, very soon, it became really useful. So this is March 2023, last year. And this is where Midjourney, this was Midjourney version 4 because I didn't want to pay for it. Midjourney version 4. And that was the first time I realized, wow, it's actually not too bad. You could do a lot of things with it. Now, looking back, it's not great, but I remember the first time it generated this, I was amazed. That's the quality we are getting right now. It's not blobby, weird things. This is where Midjourney is, from here to here. This is December 2023. That's the big jump. That's March. I didn't want to pay for it, so I was using version 4 for that one. But look at the big jump in time. This is 1.5 years. It's exponential. It's exponential. It's interesting and scary for it. So right now, what do we have in the visual creative GenAI space? We've got all these things right here, which, Pat's going to talk a little bit about it. But essentially, you've got text to image. You type it in, it makes an image. Image to image. You put an image in, you ask it to do certain things, it makes an image to another image. Text to video. We've seen Sora. That's the pinnacle stuff for it right here. But you've got things right now. You can type and do stuff. That's all the stuff that you're seeing right here. Video to video. You can bring things in. You can use it to influence. You can do all these other things to it. And then soon, which is now it's there, but it's not really production heavy. Text to 3D, image to 3D. It's there. It's not production ready yet. It's basically a toy, but it's proven. It's very, very quick when a toy becomes a tool for it. And this is only on the visual side. I'm not even talking about the audio side. I'm not talking about all the new things coming out. This is the cutting edge right here. This is Sora. 15th of February this year, OpenAI released demos of Sora. This is where it is right now. Unfortunately, it is not, usable yet. We can't access it and so forth. And I think for about a week or 2 weeks, I was pretty depressed because whatever I was doing could not match this. Then the great thing about this is the community came together and started developing more and more tools. You've got things that's coming out that's really, really good. Open source software is coming better and better. It's matching and going through that pace. On the side note for it is, those things right there were generated by this. Text to video. And today morning at 3 a.m., like what Theo did, and I saw it on the Uber coming in, OpenAI released Omni. GPT-4 Omni. It is I didn't have time to put in this slide, but right now we have a way to talk to GPT. This is where the future would be. They're like what Bill said, pace. This is accelerating really, really fast. We have to catch it. We have to push, we have to catch it. So hopefully you're getting this from my talk. Now, going into it right here is, let's talk about elephant in the room. You always have to talk about elephant in the room, because I'm coming from the creative side with AI, right? There's a lot of bad blurs, bad news, and so forth for it. Around this time last year, August 22 last year, that won an award right here. Everyone was up in the air for it. He used Midjourney for it. He won an art award. That's it. Looking at it from now, looking at the quality right now, it's not that great. Anyone on their phone with regular version regular version Midjourney can do a better job from it, all right? But that got a lot of controversy. And around this year, brands have added restrictions to agencies against generative AI. No GenAI work should be included in certain brands and so forth. That said, I say it's kind of impossible because in theory, Adobe Photoshop, which any creative would use, have generative AI inside it. So you cannot regulate that for it. So that's my bit against that. Now, I'm going to show you one quote. It's this one. GenAI couldn't qualify as an art, blah, 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 by explanation because it lacks something or by beyond peer mechanism at the bottom of it. So I cheated a little bit right here. That's actually not GenAI. That's photography. In 1855, that's what he said about photography. The reason why I showed this, when cameras came out, we went through the same thing. Ooh, it's bad. Ooh, it's taking away from art. When 3D came out with Jurassic Park, it was the same thing. Base thing, Beauty and the Beast, with digital painting, when it came out, ooh, it's bad. Ooh, it doesn't do these things. And the weird thing is, because I've been doing 3D for a fair bit, me and Dave have, at the very beginning, it was panned as well. Ooh, you're not an artist. Ooh, bad. Ooh, it doesn't do all these things. Now 3D is at that stage where it's gotten better and so forth. I'm seeing the same comments on LinkedIn on very senior people being afraid of AI, who are good in certain tools, who's replicating the same words that they had 20 years ago. So this is very interesting. So what I'm saying as well is we have to believe, we have to push, we have to ride along this wave. Because this bit right here, great artists will always do great work. This hasn't changed from time since caveman drawings, so forth. And big thing is, great engineers will always do great work, all right? These things that we are using are tools. They are tools to make our work better. We have to understand it. We have to maximize it. We cannot be afraid of it. Now, I'm going to show you a great example. There's this guy, Stealthy. Love his work. He's got into the generative AI visual phase very early on. And what he does is he puts himself in old environments. Great Twitter, great Instagram feed. And I love looking at how he does stuff. And now he's doing a video, right? So he feeds it in. And you look at the work and you go like, oh God, it's amazing. Now, one really good thing is this. He released this last year, in the middle of last year. And he showed his process on AI art. And it took 17 hours to make one image. And I looked at it and I felt much better looking at it because that's the GenAI part is a small component of it. It's a lot of iteration. It's a lot of photoshopping, a lot of photoshopping, which, that's my realm. And it's a lot of it. And I looked at it and went, wow, actually, I can use the same workflow. The GenAI part is like 10%, 5%. The rest is just a ton of Photoshop manipulation, which doesn't change a lot. The reason why I'm saying this, great work doesn't come from a single button click. And this is what I believe in. What does GenAI do? GenAI raises the baseline minimum, which is always this bit, which is what Theo was saying just now. How do we become more efficient for it? How do we push this? Because it's the same thing. It's essentially a new tool. The new tools raises the baseline minimum, which is basically this. We go through this in Oregon, digitization. BIM, Revit, that's business as usual. It wasn't that 10 years ago. This stuff all we're doing right now is using a new tool, and it's different, but it's a new tool. So what happens when there's something different, a point in time when you shift it? I look back on my history books right here. And there was this great book called The Secret Knowledge, which is Discovering the Old Lost Techniques from the Old Masters by David Hockney. Great documentary, by the way, awesome documentary. And he spoke about this. Vermeer and the Dutch masters did great pieces of work. In fact, when I was doing photoshopping a good 15, 20 years ago, I often look back at it to understand light and composition for this one. And because it pops out, it's so, so real. But what he did was, in his book, he kind of proved that, hey, there's a reason why the work looks good. They were using the camera oscura, which they had a portable version called the Magic Lantern, which is that one right there. And he looked back in time. There wasn't the internet thing. But he looked back in time and looked like the work didn't have perspective, suddenly got better, and over a span of 100 years got really, really good. And it was because of that. It's because of the camera oscura. Of course, right now, our acceleration is in days because of the internet, generative AI, everything happens faster right now. In those days, you're going across and spreading the knowledge this way. But I truly believe generative AI is the camera oscura of our time. We will get an accelerated. So what I'm saying is this as well. With good work, is there are no magic words. Sorry, Pat. But we can get much better at prompting. And now down to the good stuff right here. How can we leverage this for our work? All right? How can we get better in it? And I struggle a little bit because I was talking to Dave, like, how can we do this? And I think I came up with this. If you experiment, iterate, and then curate, curation is a massive big thing, especially with generative AI. That's how you get great work. That's my secret sauce coming out with all the stuff that you're seeing right here. So let's go to experimentation. All right? You want to experiment with a purpose. And what does that mean, experimentation with a purpose? It means you want you want to get a set outcome. You want to get a really good brief. You want to set a certain definition thing. You want to set certain you want to set certain timelines. You want to set parameters. You can't go like, I'm going to do research. I'm going to finish this by Christmas. It doesn't work that way. You have to do things quick. We have to do things with pace. We have to deliver. That's the best way to use this forward. And the wonderful thing, it works really, really well with generative AI, which I should have just clicked on this. You have to experiment with speed. Use templates. Go across. Make templates. Deliver. Move things really quickly. And when you're doing that, what's going to happen is this. Iterate. This is a Dave McKenzie line that I always like to use because ever since I met him, he has this line right here. Whenever you do something, iterate, iterate, iterate. Make something, you make it, you break it, you refine it, you do it again. It's very important. You got to do all these things. You got to iterate, make something better, refine it, do it again. That's the process of how to make certain things good. And the best thing about this right now is we are in this stage where previously I wouldn't include this as much, but this has become very, very important, curation. Reason being right here is GenAI equals scale. You get your recipe correct, you can do big things. You can scale very, very quickly for it. These are running all across right here. You're seeing it on this. You're seeing all this stuff on the screens right here. In theory, hopefully, they're going to be running on all these things. I've got hours and hours of content for this one right here. Now, David Garcia, who is part of Unsigned, came in with us, me and Dave, for this one. That's a 3D render right here. It's not real. Didn't really make it and so forth. That's a 3D render. How long would you take to make one image without animating from scratch? 3 or 4 days. Dave, 3 or 4 days, right? One image. 2, all right. 3. When I did this set right here, and the animation was more manual, now you can generate. I made 400 in a night on one machine. With 400, I couldn't even fit the 400 right here. And this is one machine. When we got acquired by Orcon, Komodo was there. We moved our $500,000 business server on level 6. That's churning all the renders and so forth coming in. This is one 3070 because I didn't buy a 4090. I could churn out 400. Full HD res, upscale 4K. Curation becomes extremely, extremely important especially in the age of generative AI. At the very beginning, I was correcting the ones that I did not like, tweaking it, patching it, painting it. And then I realized very quickly, I could just press delete because it was churning out pretty fast. Delete, no. And I soon realized I've got to be very, very aggressive. There's a term, this is horrible to say this, there's a term in film which is called kill your darlings. Whatever that you don't like, you have to aggressively cut it out. It might be perfect, it might be great, it wouldn't work. Out of 400 to make a film, I needed 20. 25, I squeezed 5 extra in. That's the one that you're seeing right here. It's easy to cut out half. It's easy to cut, and it's not so easy to go basically trim out 75%. It's hard to go down to 10%, but it's basically important skill that we have to do right now. We have to iterate really, really quickly. We have to kill our darlings, move away from it. We have to move very fast, which is basically right here. If you experiment, you iterate really quickly, and you create, that's how you get great work. And how do you sort of, what's actually great work is this. I like this line by Sheryl Sandberg. Done is better than perfect. Because there's a trend to try to make the perfect collateral, the perfect film, the perfect script, perfect piece of content, and so forth. No. Finish it quick, get it out. Finish it quick, post it. Finish it quick, and post it.
So when you were deleting those 400 photos from the 400 photos, how did you even filter out? Like, did you go to each one of them and delete?
As is at the very beginning, I was putting in the folder, I'm going to repair this, I'm going to repair this, I'm going to repair this. As we went through that process, because for those who don't, by the way, I'm probably the only Fooch I'm definitely the only Fooch in Oricon. There's not many Fooches in LinkedIn. If you are connected with me, I post something every week. As it's coming out, I would delete them. If it doesn't feel nice, it doesn't feel good, be aggressive, It's the same thing, like all these things that are filming right here, we're going to have 8 times 3, 24-hour footage, times 3 cameras. How am I going to get it into a 20-second hype video? Aggressive, So this is the change, though, because in a normal work environment before generative AI it's actually, you normally perfect things a little bit better. You sprinkle some gold dust on it. In this situation, whenever you get I call it the right recipe, you can scale really, really quickly. When Theo gets on something, here's 10,000 things that is actually really good. How do you be aggressive about it? How do you take things out? And this is where I think the eye is very important. The subject matter expert is important for it.
Fooch, really great. Oh yeah, Dennis Marshman here from the Sustaining Capital team. Fooch, love the presentation. Put it up on the internet. It's going to go off. So a lot of the stuff we do is not as visually stimulating as what you're doing there with the imagery. But do you see the same process applying regardless, even if it's a dry engineering problem?
I don't think there's dry engineering problems actually. This is after being 6 years in here. I want to give a clap for it. No, but it is quite true. We came in as part of Mr. Garcia as well. And soon we realized the parallel patterns to it. A lot of the great things that we do, if we want to do it effectively, we got to do it quickly and we got to do it with speed for it. And then some of these things right here, I picked up from being in here for 6 years. The whole, not being precious with work, getting work quickly. I think I picked it up with Oricon.
Stuart Gordon, Digital Practice Leader from New South Wales and ACT. I've always wondered if Unsigned Studio and the visualization practice, this is an open question to Dave to answer as well. To what extent has GenAI already disrupted the unsigned practice? And is this a good lesson for other practices because you're already churning out great lessons here? Is that making its way into the way that we work from the Unsigned Studio?
I can ramble on this for about an hour, so I'm going to stop myself. So I'm a true believer in this. All right, top line production, top line production, like what my friend David's producing, what our guys are producing, is not going to change. In fact, that gets better for this. Your mid-tier and your low-tier, if you're not producing great work, your mid-tier and your low-tier, you're in trouble. If I can do 400 of this in one night, you're in trouble for it on one single machine. The thing about Unsigned is, when me and Dave were in Unsigned, we never sold like, oh, we're going to make great 3D. For those who are, when we used to that spoke to us, we never sold that we're going to make great 3D. That's hygiene. All right? We will always do that. It's the storytelling, it's the human factor, it's how you sort of communicate that came across. The companies that are selling, I won't say good because good is many tiers, the very good 3D, they'll still be okay. The companies that are selling middle level thing, I think I told Dave this around middle last year when, oh my gosh, these guys are in trouble. So yeah, they got to pick up the pace. They got to implement all this stuff.
Yeah, I think there's been creatives in general have sat on a bit of a pedestal saying automation can't come for us. It's an innate creativity we have, but they got found out, I think, is the reality. And I think if, to your question, Stu, if this hasn't disrupted how Unsigned's working, it will. And it's on Unsigned to make the best use of these tools as part of their practice. And I know Dave and the team that's something they're focused on.
Mr. Garcia's better at Stable Diffusion than me. He just secretly doesn't tell it.
But as an addenda, and I've watched Jonathan present a couple of times now, and I keep on saying it's one of the best presentations I've seen, or experimentation I've seen in the GenAI space of actually throwing scientific data at, a model and finding out what it can do. And it does make me think, this lowers the barrier of entry to competitors. Our clients can just do this sort of stuff themselves. So it really brings some real value-based business questions around what are we doing and refocusing our efforts as well. So it's not just your practice, it's coming in other practices.
I was going to say, as Fooch said, I mean, we never wanted to sell graphics. We wanted to sell ideas and storytelling. I think that still holds true irrespective of what tool you use. I do think where some of this heads, though, is an inflection point with what our core business does. Fooch put up text to 3D, text to engineering, text to complex data sources. It's just going to be a series of problems that get solved and get ticked off over time. So
there's also a bit I had, which is GenAI raises the base minimum. And who here uses Photoshop, Adobe? Raise your hand. 1, 2, few people. Adobe came out many, many years ago. They came up with this nice little tool, Adobe Lens Flare. It is the ugliest thing, and I can spot it from a mile away right now. But at that time, it was the bee's knees. Ooh, everyone did it. So did I. Went through that thing. All right. What's going to happen is this raises the baseline minimum. It's going to be the lens flare. How do you come up on top of it? To make good work, you still need the 17 hours on top of it to make great work.